Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
So you want to call it a dress rehearsal, huh? I don't know what you call that game last night, but if that's what we got to see for most of the season, there's going to be a lot of rough Browns post-game shows right here on the Big Play Network as the official Browns post-game show, unofficially, the voice of the land right here on the Big Play Network. I am Kevin Arnold. On the other side of the table is Always Positive Jay. And behind the, actually computer screen that we won't need tonight, but he doesn't want to be seen anyways. It is our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tellup, or better known as Audio, because you can't see him. He's just, and I was actually watching Endgame and some Avengers stuff.
I was watching it too.
What Jarvis was to Iron Man, Audio is to the voice of the land. And of course, you're also partnered with LPV Productions and brought to you by Vector Technical. They will get the right person in the right job the first time. More information on them to come with their job staffing abilities for you. And they are always posting at Vector Tech Inc. on Twitter. I always see them posting jobs, and they've been posting a lot more lately. So make sure to check them out and get more information as the show goes. Guys, I don't know. I mean, I guess we got to start with this preseason game, but maybe well wishes. And I don't know if you guys have any
well wishes. Actually, yesterday I was in my very good friend Chris's wedding. So congratulations to Chris and Kelly Rhodes now and their son, or his new now stepson, Brody. Yeah, it was an awesome time. And the funny thing is, we always talk about how it's more than a game. And you know Chris and Kelly from playing softball with us last year.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they met each other, is through softball. I'm like,
that's awesome.
There's no more than a game than that when you meet your soulmate playing softball. And they their love for sports with each other is just, the original connection with them. And he was she was telling the story of how when she officially knew that Chris was a great guy, is they were at a fundraiser for the one guy on our team. His daughter had cancer, and they had all these gift baskets. There was all these adult themed liquor or gift cards to this place or that place, and they had the one for all kids toys, and he put all his tickets into that one. And she saw it, she's like, "Why'd you pick that?" And he's like, "I got 3 nephews, they would love it." And her being a single mom was just instantly in love with this dude. I'm like, I don't know if you did it on purpose, Chris, or not, but that was probably the best move of your entire life, my friend. But yeah, the wedding was awesome. It was out at Shipyard in Lorraine. Beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful place. And I've learned the reception and the wedding at the same place, so much less stressful, Kevin. You would have been, if you could have had your wedding and the reception all at that baseball field, you would have absolutely loved it. It was so much less hassle. Not that it was bad for us by any means, but it was just, you're done and you just turn around and go right back to where you were at.
I mean, with our friends over at ESPN Cleveland, and especially over ECT, we've had Matt Fontana on, Danny Cunningham. I really want to play their hotkey that says "shot or not."
No, yeah, it's not a shot by any means.
We taking a shot.
Because we didn't have just because when you're done, we got to be here, and there's time schedule, and you got to be here and there and there and there and stuff. It was just so simple. It was I'm used to the hassle and stuff and bustle of all that stuff. It's fun to me. I know you guys are more stressed out than the people in the wedding. You're we got to get here, we got to be there, we got to be here, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was fun. Both were a blast. I
mean, kind of bookending the summer then with some big weddings there, huh?
Yeah, and I hope I'm not in another wedding for a good while, man. There are exhausting.
Besides your own, right?
Yes. I'm so exhausted. They're so exhausting. I mean, they're so much fun, but when you're in it and you're there all day and you got to be there all the way to the end, and by then you're just
and you only remember part of it, and then you have to go back and watch highlight videos or see pictures to then I do remember that, I do remember this, those types of things, but in the moment you just don't remember. Peter,
we pulled the veteran move at his wedding, and me and you were the only ones that had the dress shoes on. As soon as we're done with the pictures, bam, right to the good shoes, the sneakers. You had the LeBrons, and I had the Air Max 90s.
That was a deal worked out with the wife.
Yeah,
that was a deal worked out beforehand.
So,
but still,
I brought my book bag and I hid it under a table, and they're like, "Okay, you guys are all done with all your pictures," and I just disappeared, grabbed that book bag, changed into my shoes. And later at the end of the night, they're like, man, these shoes suck. My feet hurt so bad. I'm like, mine don't hurt that bad. And they
Of
look down,
course
they're
you
like, dude, how did you brought shoes? I'm like,
Oh.
yeah. And everyone's like, I wish I would have brought shoes.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
I didn't think that those dress shoes were that uncomfortable though. Like I probably
I hate dress shoes, dude. I can't stand them.
see if I'm gonna dress up, I gotta go like full go because like at work we just did an event where it was like business casual, but it felt like it should be more formal. And I was told to, at least look a little nicer than when you come into the office, what we're allowed to wear to the office. And, I did as best as I could. I kind of went to the upper tier of business casual and I had the dress shoes on. If I'm going to be dressed up in a suit and a tie or a shirt and a tie, you best believe the dress shoes are going on. I know that there's guys that cannot stand dress shoes and they will not wear dress shoes at all. I've talked to several of them. They will wear their Jordans, they'll wear their LeBrons wherever they're going for the entire time they're there. Mine was more of a look element that I kind of wanted to tie in because we had blue and red, and I had the all red, the red carpet LeBron 17th. Got compliments on those at the.
If they're really high end sneakers and they look good, I think you could pull it off. But when you're taking pictures and stuff, like I had to have the dress shoes on. My feet are just hurt all the time, regardless. Like I got feet and ankle problems. So after like 10 hours of dress shoes, my feet just kill me. And when I put on those Nikes, I was like, these feel like pillows right now on my feet.
Well, continue well wishes and prayers to your feet then. Peter, any audio, any prayers or well wishes?
I honestly, I don't think I can follow that.
Well, I'll do one for us two together. I want to send, at least congratulations, well wishes out to our friends over at the Cleveland Crunch because it sounds like they're going to be heading into a new league, Major League Indoor Soccer. They are leaving Major Arena Soccer League, MASL2. They are leaving that branding there. And then they are moving over. They're kind of working with other owners of other teams that have left. It sounds like, and I read the Cleveland.com article. You guys can find that. Go to Cleveland Crunch on Facebook, Twitter. They've kind of retweeted and shared the link. If you find Cleveland.com on social media, I'm sure you can find the link to the article. But it talks about how them and a few other owners are making their own league. And some of the games might be happening in a different venue than the tight space that we had at the Soccer Sportsplex. Love everybody and love that space over the Soccer Sportsplex. I've coached games there. I've played games there. That is a staple of the winter season. If you're playing soccer all year round here in Northeast Ohio, the Soccer Sportsplex in North Olmsted is, one of those staples here in the area. So nothing about that. It was just, for professional soccer and how good the Cleveland Crunch are. You wanted more fans to be able to come in, and just that kind of venue is not going to be able to bring that in. 4 of the 6 home games might be at the IX Center. And I'm not giving away like any secrets because that's listed in the article. So if I'm speaking out of turn, Lucci and your family and stuff, let me know. But so that's really cool for them, and it'll probably allow at least like 2,000 fans at those kind of games. And
I think the Sportsplex was like
500.
Not even. I thought it was like 200 to 300.
I think they were like, and they were.
It was pretty small,
but they were. I mean, they were packing people in there
as more people wanted tickets. So, and there's plenty more people that want to try to get out to the games, and they want to make it more fan interactive because that's what I remember going to Crunch games as a kid. Was that the fan element, the focus on the fan, and that's what they want indoor soccer to get back to, the focus on the fan, to make it a family fun environment. They did anyways, but to have more space for that and have more things going on, that'll be really cool. And if LPV Productions happens to get the spot to, I know that they're trying to develop as a league a streaming network. That's what it sounds like. But you're going to need crews for each team to kind of go through that.
From what I read, it sounds like they're going to have a platform where if you want to watch so instead of like we would stream to YouTube, I think they're going to have like a specific platform for the league, kind
of like Bally's has theirs.
Yeah, so you can kind of like watch all of the teams. And I think Chicago, Cincinnati, I can't remember if Muskingum was so.
Not sure. Yeah,
there were I know it was at least the Crunch, the Cincinnati Swerve, and the Chicago Mustangs are part of this new league. So,
and there's plenty more teams applying, and kind of regionally in this area. And nothing against MASL either. Just reading through the article, it wasn't just the team having to do well to move up to the top tier. They were in the second tier. So if you know soccer, you look at the Premier League as the Premier League, pun intended, of club soccer around the world. Then there's the Championship League. That's the next tier down. That's the second tier of teams in the United Kingdom playing that have a chance to find a way to be one of those top teams at the end to then go back to the Premier League. You got to get yourself up. You earn your way up. That wasn't set up like that in indoor soccer. You had to pay a lot more money too to get to that standing, and it wasn't feasible for some of these teams in some of these areas that they're just getting going, but the talent is there to be on a bigger stage. So they're trying to create that and give some other teams that don't maybe not have the money still a bigger stage to kind of highlight throughout the winter months there. So
we'll be happy to help them any way we can. So.
I know you were happy to see another soccer rumor about Cleveland.
Pointed
out
yes.
to you.
So,
I saw that and I was just like, let me just tag my good friend Kevin here.
We called this show, it's a dress rehearsal, huh? We haven't talked Browns yet. We had a bunch of people tuning in. I'm sure a bunch of people have dropped off because soccer just isn't part of it. But guess what? You got me going. So guess what? We're going to continue. You sent me the article. Was it from Cleveland?
Cleveland.com.
Cleveland.com. Or was it the one like the scenes or something like that?
Maybe it's somewhere local.
Yeah, we're both exhausted right now. So I think all three of us are exhausted right now. Plus Jacob in the back right now. Peter's son is probably exhausted from his first week of school. And
hopefully he's doing his homework.
Yeah.
He's got any.
Yeah, he was just performing it with the Menor band at
First
Energy Stadium. That was a heck of a game. I know that Menor lost, but I mean, triple overtime, St. Ignatius Menor, that's Division I, Region I high school football. So shout out to all those guys out there for that. But you sent me an article where people were here from the MLS trying to see if this was a viable city for another.
Why do you think I brought it up?
Because
I want us to talk about it because they're probably listening. So many people listen to the show and that they're listening and they're gonna hear us talking soccer. Come here, we'll talk about you.
And I read the article and it was something about MLS Next. To kind of again, one of those lower tiers like we're talking about, because there's MLS, then there's MLS 2, there's Columbus Crew 2, so that's your next tier down. Mm-hmm. I think MLS Next might be that next tier down, but seeing if any sort of professional soccer like that to build towards being an expansion team in Major League Soccer, 3 teams in the state of Ohio, and then we would have 4 professional teams, and you have my favorite sport here. You need somebody to call the games. I'm open. DM's phone line's open for that. Phone lines aren't open here on the Voice of the Land just yet, but phone lines for myself, they are definitely open. So
you'd like to call soccer? That's shocked.
I'm surprised.
Guys, I mean, I'm just a simple person. I don't know what to tell you.
Staying on the soccer thing here, what's it? Have you seen any of that new show with Ryan Reynolds and
I have
welcome? What is it? Welcome to Rexall or
Welcome to Wrexham?
Wrexham.
I think Wrexham it's an English team that's in that championship level, that second level. I think they even had a chance to get up to the Premier League, but they just missed last year. But Ryan Reynolds and then I can't remember the guy's name, but he's from
McElhenney or something.
McElhenney, I think.
Something like that. Yeah.
From It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. One of those guys, they teamed up and they are co-owners of this team, and it's a documentary their first year as owners. I really want to see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. It looks pretty interesting.
I can't wait for season 3 of Ted Lasso. And I know that even shout out to someone we've had on the show and got to have him back on. I got to try to reach out to him and get him back on the show. Maybe we can do a soccer segment with him. Emmett Golden from ESPN Cleveland. I know that his team Tottenham also had almost what they do on HBO Hard Knocks for football, they did for Tottenham, kind of like a documentary series like that. So there's a lot of soccer out there. I actually
think soccer is picking up over there.
I think it is. I really do. And I think people are going to get into the World Cup too. maybe stations.
Soccer and hockey are both making a big move,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, amongst youth sports right
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I was listening to the Guardians, we'll get into later. Unfortunately, lost 3 of 4 to the Seattle Mariners. But towards the end of the game, Tom Hamilton, Jim Rosenhaus, they were talking about how they went over, they checked out the hockey arena that's in Seattle. Like, in Seattle's all about hockey. Like, that's definitely growing. Soccer's growing. I saw a commercial. It was already kind of a Christmas commercial for Fox Sports. They had John
They just
Hamm.
skip over fall.
They had John Hamm playing Santa Claus.
I saw that.
And he's like, the elf is calling him saying the World Cup, they moved the World Cup to holiday time. He's like, what? Yeah, they moved the World Cup to holiday time. No one steals my spotlight. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, he was lounging by the pool somewhere warm, because it's my time off. And I'm like, yes. I was like, okay, yeah, they're really pushing it. I mean,
yeah. And
it's a very popular sport everywhere except the US.
But I feel like the young talent that we have, if they can be put together properly, if they can be used properly and stay healthy with their club teams going into November, the United States is building something right now. They are finally having guys playing overseas, and I cannot stress how important that is enough. They are going through the academies overseas with Manchester United's, Chelsea's, Tottenham's, big clubs like Barcelona, Real Madrid, those types of academies where players are developed properly. Academies for the MLS are just starting to come together. Women's soccer has always been developed better in the United States than men's has. But now that we have enough young talent that is being seen earlier in their lives, and they are going through these academies and being brought overseas and playing at the highest level, playing the Premier League, playing for UEFA Champions Leagues, and making an impact, you need to find a way to get that talent, that young talent together, make a run in this World Cup. If you don't win it, you're helping host the next one. This is the golden age, apparently, of U.S. men's soccer. You better capitalize on it. That's all I'm going to say. And the Browns better capitalize on something because they got a golden age of some talent, except at one position. We will get to them after the break here on The Voice of Land. A great soccer segment to start, but I've been told maybe sometimes I talk soccer too much, so we will take our first break of the evening and hit the Browns. Was it really a dress rehearsal? Is that what we're going to see, or is it not? We'll talk about that next right here on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout Northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
From European football to American football, which we're going to talk about a lot on the show, as we will kind of be the unofficial, official Big Play Browns postgame show. We kind of did a practice last week after the preseason game number 2. Now we are 2 weeks away from game number 1 down in Carolina against those Panthers, and number 6, who used to play here, is now playing in the powder blue and gray or white. I don't know what. Black. Okay. Whatever their color scheme is down there. We are 2 weeks away from doing a post-game show for that game. Yesterday, there's only now 3 preseason games. Was that really a dress rehearsal? Jay, is that what we're going to see? Because it did not look good, especially offensively. Defensively, Justin Fields made some of the backups and other starters not look so good either. Didn't have some of the top players, but is that what we're going to see?
No. First off, you ain't got your number 1 wide receiver out there. You don't have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Those are like your 2 biggest pieces on offense until the other quarterback comes back from suspension. And the Schwartz thing. For the love of God, you guys get off of this kid's back. He's young. Yeah, it annoys me like crazy when people drop passes, but he's like the 4th, maybe the 5th guy on this team at receiver. It's going to be Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Then you're going to have Njoku who's going to have more targets than him. David Bell might actually end up having more targets. A friend of the show, Demetric Felton's going to have more targets. And like, don't get all crazed out about a guy that's dropping passes. First off, it ain't going to help him because he probably, Peter said it earlier before the show, he's young and listening to all this stuff.
Yep.
He shouldn't be. But most likely is because that's what they do now. Like, I don't know. I don't see piling on him what it's going to do. Like, everyone's like, you got to cut him. You got to cut. Like, dude, you can sit there and say that all you want, but they're not listening to you. Andrew Berry don't care what you say. He ain't don't care what I say. He don't care what Kevin says. If he wants to keep him because he's a 3rd round pick, he's going to keep him no matter what we say. So why sit there and cry about it?
And that's honestly, guys, that's one of my biggest pet peeves right now. People saying, and this isn't what you just said. It's people saying, well, I don't care what anybody else says. You should be thinking this way. Well, if you didn't care, why are you saying something? Why are you saying anything? I saw, I love this guy. I appreciate what he does. I respect what he does. Garrett Bush from 92.3 The Fan in town. I love all of his work, but he's saying he's trying to beat the drum for Deshaun Watson, everybody getting off the off the field issue. Guess what? That's going to linger over. And some people aren't going to be able to get past it because it hits harder. We just had a conversation with Cleveland Kate last week, and we understood why there's going to be people and groups of people affected more by that than others. So you don't tell people to move on. If you have, fine. That is totally fine if you have, and you're looking at him as a football player and what he can do the last 6 weeks. If Jacoby Brissett does this, and this in the first 11 games, if you're looking at it like that, that's fine. If you're not talking about it at all, that's fine. How you feel is how you feel. I'm sick and tired of people telling others how to feel. We are going to tell you how we feel. You feel differently? Tell us. Talk to us about it. We want to know why. Then we can understand the other side better. This stupid, idiotic element of telling people how to feel.
It's dealing in absolutes.
It's dealing in absolutes.
Who deals with absolutes? Sith Lords.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's a whole nother discussion there.
Yeah. And it's a discussion I would honestly rather have than talking about and trying to just demean a kid. Did he drop passes? Is he not playing well? Correct. Does he look like a player that could be cut to bring in a different wide receiver? Yes. Should this front office have focused on the wide receiver position, gotten a little bit more creative when they traded away their 1st round picks and could have gotten a top tier wide receiver where they were in the 1st round this year? Absolutely. They should have. But we can't do anything about it now. And to then rail on a kid and go at him.
And even in the draft, dude, all the top tier receivers were gone when our pick came up. Like sometimes it just doesn't work out like you want it to, and you just got to play with the cards you're dealt with.
Yeah. And I get that too.
And not to mention, we did get Amari Cooper. Everyone keeps forgetting that.
Right.
Like he hasn't played. Like he is an extremely good receiver. It's going to be dramatically different when he's in there.
And DPJ is going to have to step up to be, because we know Amari Cooper, and as he's getting up there in age, is going to be more of a possession style receiver.
Yeah, his problem is not so much that he's regressing or he's not progressing. He's just staying still, and you can't tread water in the NFL. You got to always got to be getting better.
You have to. And Anthony Schwartz is the same case. He's not getting better. And, he made comments earlier trying to maybe use other people as a scapegoat for what happened last year. But then you got to go out there and produce. If you think it was someone else, you got to go out there and produce. That we're not sitting back here and saying, woe is Anthony Schwartz. You can't criticize him at all. It's one thing to say that a guy is not an NFL wide receiver. I am saying that right now. He does not look like an NFL caliber wide receiver. But he's going to be given a chance by this front office. No matter what we say, he is going to be given a chance by this front office to show otherwise. Again, I can say that. I can have that opinion, but guess what? I'm going to move on from that. If you're not okay, I guess I am kind of being hypocritical here by telling people how to feel. I don't feel like it's proper to, it just feels more personal. And we're getting back to the Baker Mayfield Browns wars on Twitter and amongst fans and media members again. I don't I don't like that. Like, don't use that. Don't use a person. There's a person behind the jersey as a pawn in your game just to get content, just to get clicks and likes. That's what I don't like. I'm telling you what not to do. If you feel a certain way about them, that's fine. Don't use them as a pawn to get clicks and likes. If you feel a certain way, okay, but don't let it get personal. And I definitely don't want to see where some of these where these cases go. You know how dark
well, here's
some fans go with this kind of stuff.
That's where I was going to start. Like, again, we're not telling you how to think and say and do whatever, but there are some things I'm going to tell you what not to do. And I'm not going to repeat words that like they use to describe people. Like, there's a line you can cross, and I cannot stand when people do it. Like crossing the line with that guy with the t-shirts last week, what he had to put on those.
Yep.
Like, you majorly crossed the line, dude, as far as I'm concerned. Dude. I have zero respect for people like that. Like,
and people still wearing them at the game yesterday. There was a picture of people that bought them off the street.
Seen it. I don't even. It's trash.
The sign of the dad and his son crossing a line, like things you don't do. If you support Deshaun Watson, if you support Anthony Schwartz, fine. You don't support him, fine. That's how you feel. But there is a certain line. You can call it woke culture. You can call it cancel culture. You can call it all the things that you want. There's a thing called human decency. And I think people forget about that. And it's definitely been forgotten about to a much larger degree than ever in sports fandom, with how many different modes of ability people have to get those opinions out there, to get those words out there that we will never repeat, to get those thoughts out there that we'll never repeat, those actions
what if I
we will never repeat.
Is the people that will spend so much of their day and so much of their energy and focusing on, like, it is like their sole reason to get someone fired or cut. Like, dude, find something better to do with your time than sit on Twitter and just bash the same group of people. Like, I don't know any specifics. I'm not even going to try to call anyone out, but you know what I'm talking about. There's just some people on Twitter and they just won't stop. Like, they're just nonstop, always bashing. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry you feel that way. I mean, maybe that's kind of people need to seek help, to be honest with you, because something's wrong. Because if you're sitting there and that's what your life is just trying to tear others down, like, maybe look in the mirror.
Yeah. And trust me, we get it as fans. It's frustrating to see a guy drop so many passes. This is not to, again, this conversation is not to say that Anthony Schwartz is God's gift to green earth, or that he's the best wide receiver. He just had an off day. He's had too many off days. That's just a simple fact. And there's something going on in his head. It's like the yips in
I think it's
kicking.
I'm gonna guess, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I think it's totally in his head.
It is.
Do I think he's got hands like Chris Carter or Randy Moss? No. Do I think his hands are that bad either? No. But it's in his head now. Now he's thinking about it. Like, and when it's in your own head, you just gotta like say, forget it. I'm just gonna do what I gotta do and take care. Like, just do what I've been doing my whole life, is catching a football. I'm a receiver. This is what I do. Can you get better? Sure you can. Everyone's like, oh, no one ever learns how to catch. Like, ask Terrell Owens if he learned how to catch. He got crushed one game, and he was just dropping passes. And then there's the famous catch where he leaps up in the end zone between two players, and they both smash him at the exact same time. He catches the ball, holds on, game winner. It was out of his head after that. He's like, I can do this. And sometimes that's all it takes, is that moment, and it clicks for those kind of players, because you can learn that. You can learn routes. You can learn how to catch better. You can learn focus. You can't teach that kind of speed he has, though. And you guys keep forgetting, like, he has Olympic speed, and that's why they're not going to cut him, because you can't just find guys that have that kind of speed, but you can train them to make them better. A lot of receivers don't really break out to their third year anyways.
Right.
We're so used to now that things kind of have changed. Like, and I've learned this, and we'll talk some fantasy football later, but I've learned this to playing fantasy football so many years. At first, you never draft a rookie receiver. That is just like, you don't do it. They're most likely not going to do that much, maybe for a spot start.
Don't tell Paulus that with David Bell.
Yeah, sure. That's his problem if you drafted David Bell. I mean,
former host of the show.
That was a homer pick, though, so it's different when you pick Browns players. I guess I can't say it.
I know.
But the point is, I usually would wait till like their second,
Yeah.
third year, and then they would break loose. Lately, it's changed. You have these Justin Jeffersons and McLaurin from Washington and these rookie receivers and
Yeah.
Jamar Chase now in
Yep.
Cincinnati. And now everyone wants this instant gratification, like everything else in our world in life. Everyone, it's a microwave world, and we want it instantly great right off the rip. Sometimes you just got to wait for people, dude.
Sometimes.
Like Antonio Brown did not come into that league for Pittsburgh and just destroy the league. It took him like his third year, and then he became a dominant league, and then he turned into something else. And I'm not going down that road, but point being, Pittsburgh is one of the best teams that develop in wide receivers. They, by the time they were ready to go or they're done, the guy that they had backing up on fourth receiver has been there his third year, and now he's ready to start.
And people always say you make your biggest jump from year 1 to year 2, and especially within those first 3 years, like big jump from year 1 to year 2, big jump from year 2 to year 3.
Mhm.
You can play yourself in a league, absolutely, but you can just as easily play yourself out. And if he does, he wasn't cut out for it, and that's the nature of the business. That's why it's not for long. That's one of the acronyms that NFL stands for to fans and people around, is not for long.
He's just fortunate right now. It is preseason.
Yeah.
Like he's very fortunate. Like if this is games and he's costing his teams like valuable regular season games, they're not gonna be as supportive as Stefanski was yesterday about him.
Correct. And going off of that point, we've heard this front office, we've heard the coaching staff say that they've had faith in players and then turn around and get rid of them.
Yeah, don't ever believe what they say. That means nothing to me.
Everybody was up in arms last night when they said that his spot is solidified. And if it is, okay, like that, there's cause for concern. What are you going to do to help fix it? Are you actually coaching the kid? Is there some other issue going on? We don't know. We're not inside that building. Not to insinuate anything, but we don't know what we don't know.
And they ain't telling us anything anymore.
Not telling us anything, but also I wasn't going to get up in arms when Kevin Stefanski said that, because I've heard him say something before where Baker Mayfield is our starter. We have all the faith in the world in Baker Mayfield. Where is Baker now? He is in Carolina. However you feel about that, that is not a comment one way or the other.
It's just the facts.
I don't have the time nor the energy nor the weariness right now or alertiveness right now to go into a Baker war. I have my thoughts. I'm like not going there. I'm just saying they said Baker was their starter or made sure that they made it sound like they had all the confidence in the world. They chose to be one of 13 teams to go
after. They said they weren't going to trade Odell Beckham last year. They said they're sticking with him. We're not trading him. And then boom, he was traded.
Don't listen to anything they say.
I always tell people, I'm like, oh, are you going to watch the press conference? I'm like, dude, no. Why would I watch the press conference? It's like, if I had the opportunity, I'd love to go ask them questions and cover them. Sure. But do I really? I don't know. They don't ever tell us anything anymore without being able to go in the locker room like they used to be able to. Like, that's where those guys got all the information. Now it's just like they're saying a lot of everything with not saying nothing.
Jay, we really battled out there today. And, you wanted to ask me about Anthony Schwartz. Yeah, tough day out there, but it's a kid that works really hard, and, he's not going to give up being in this league. We have a lot of faith in him. And he really battled out there today.
Is Anthony Schwartz going to be playing in the 4th preseason game, Kevin?
We'll have to take a look at the tape, and we'll have to, we'll have to talk as coaches, and we'll let you guys know when we have a plan.
Thank you. Did you say anything?
I don't know.
You said a bunch of words, but you didn't tell anybody anything. That they're geniuses at doing it. Like sometimes I listen to them just to laugh at like how they could say a bunch of stuff without saying nothing and giving you.
You guys have no idea how difficult that was to come up with a statement that had a lot of words and said absolutely nothing, because you guys know I love to talk. But when I talk, I'm saying something. That was very difficult for me to try to.
Oh, it's not easy,
but
they're trained perfectly at doing it, and now all the players kind of trickles down to them. That's when they're listening.
And that's when that's like one of those little things. When you talk about the little things actually matter. That's when you start to see like a little thing that's building a culture. If the players are taking after the coaches, they actually respect them. They're listening to them. Are they good enough on Sundays or whatever day they play to get the job done? They didn't look like it yesterday. That better not be the dress rehearsal. To answer the question, that was a dress rehearsal. That better not be. That better not be what we see. We know it's going to be
It was
difficult.
like a semi-dress rehearsal. It wasn't like the full one.
I know.
And I'm sorry, like Justin Fields ain't doing that with Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney out there.
No, and he was already getting, there was a full Twitter thread before he hit his first touchdown of him getting hit in that offensive line. The whole preseason, the offensive line has been talked about by Chicago. So
you better believe too that offensive line and that team, it meant more to them than it did the Browns from how bad we beat them down last year. I was like, definitely the Bears wanted that game more than the Browns.
They won the preseason game that didn't mean anything really bad because there was a lot of fan reaction too. That was I went on to TikTok this morning. I don't know. There's a bunch of like Bears fans that were just like all excited about it. I don't know. It's preseason. I hope Justin Fields does well. I hope he doesn't get killed because he's an Ohio State product, and Ohio State starts their season next week. We'll talk about that game after the show next week. We're still doing a Labor Day show, but I don't know, to get that up in arms about a preseason game. I don't have faith in Jacoby, but I'm hoping for the best. I hope I'm wrong.
I have faith in Nick Chubb.
Got faith in Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
got faith in Myles Garrett. There was a conversation surrounding Myles Garrett that probably, if we had more time, we would get into, but I don't think it's worth our time or energy as well with a similar instance to.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you.
Yeah,
that's
we're not,
because that's an hour show.
Yeah,
I was so mad.
That's
the hypocrisy. It just, we're not going there.
If only we had a weekly show.
Yeah.
Sponsorships open here at the Voice of the Land. Hit us up on Twitter in our DMs at VT_pod, Voice of the Land on Facebook, Voice of the Land Podcast on YouTube, or you can always catch the audio at Google, Spotify, and Apple. With that, we switched from one tough game last night to a team that had a tough weekend across the country up in Seattle. We talk about that next, right here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Make sure you get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop. Peter, is that shirt that the girl's wearing saying "not my fault"? Is that like a message from you saying like "not my fault" that Paulus' face is still in there, but you can still get Jay's face and stuff at the shop?
That's totally my fault because
Okay.
I just haven't had time. I've got so much on my plate. So
No, it's all right. Trust me, there's a lot going on. LPV Productions, CBC TV. You're doing comedy shows, like live broadcasting or recording comedy shows, doing so many other things. And we're trying to grow this show to have more of a fan interaction with it.
He's filling in for Vision when the Avengers need him and stuff. Like, he's got
It's
a lot
rough.
going on, dude.
It's rough.
I mean, someone's got to save the world.
Was that like a director's cut never released? I was watching TNT. I saw audio instead of vision in Age of Ultron today.
Right,
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So he appeared on camera somehow. I don't know. But right now he's up.
We're
in
gonna
the-
get him on camera one day.
one day. Yeah. I have my hands like right next to this camera. I can just I just don't feel like doing that because I feel like I'm just gonna knock everything over. So
and then the camera will just be on Jay the whole time.
that's fine. People probably don't want to see my face either, so that's totally fine. People did not want to see what the Guardians did in Seattle this weekend either, losing 3 of 4, lead in the AL Central down to 2 games. Minnesota winning a couple games, getting a couple games on them after the Guardians had 2 great games in San Diego. You take out your former pitcher Mike Clevenger, who had a great game. The only 2 hits he gave out left the park. 3 of the 4 hits they had all night went, were runs for the Guardians in game 1. Game 2, Blake Snell. Oh, I'm going to get all my money when it's COVID times going on. I'm going to get all my money. I'm going to, yeah, dude. Like,
I'm sorry.
people are so much.
As much as you're making fun of it, I absolutely laugh every time they play that sound bite. and you're making me laugh over here.
Like,
it's just funny because I remember Dron's like, "That's what Blake Snell looks like." I had no idea. I didn't think you would talk like that.
I still think the dude's an a-hole. But
I totally agree with you.
And I was so glad that the Guardians won 7-0 in that game. And
I laugh at the story behind the soundbite more than anything.
Yeah. I'm not going down that road either. There's a lot of roads we could have gone down tonight. We're just, it's Robert Frost, the path, whatever his poem says.
The road less traveled.
The road less traveled. There's in front of someone, there's like two paths and they take the road less traveled. Those types of things. We're taking the road less traveled tonight. That's for sure. That is for sure. But the Guardians took a road trip that did not go as well. They got the win last night. They came back, and that's kind of who they are. The Guardiac kids, as you kind of said, not the first one to say it. I've seen that all year long. They probably should have won game 2 when it was 11 innings. They had a chance to take the lead in the 9th and the 11th inning in that game.
That's where I think being on that West Coast makes the difference in those games.
Yeah.
You're so close, but I mean, it's really hard to travel all the way across the country like that and be on the road.
It is.
And I mean, Seattle's a hell of a baseball team. Like, the people don't realize that. Like, they're really, really good. And they probably have the rookie of the year on their team. You know, it should be Stephen Kwan, but that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That catch by Stephen Kwan. I almost forgot about it until I just thought of it now. I thought catch of the year right now, they're saying.
I thought those seats were going through his chest when he landed.
And he got up and got a base hit. He's like, no biggie.
Yeah.
Brush that off real quick.
And he's not getting the love for rookie of the year the same reason the Guardians aren't getting the love as
it's working.
Gosh, he's getting in my head. But
Emmett, I'm taking your Gardo's name down.
God, the Jedi mind tricks are really coming across. You got that R2D2. Do you guys know I have an R2 remote control R2D2 that I got from on our honeymoon?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And you have not brought it here for us.
Well, I finally took it out of the box.
We're going to have a conversation after the show about this.
Finally took it out of the box recently and then scared the crap out of our rabbit. I found it because I already have a lightsaber and that scares the crap out of them. Now we got an R2D2 just roaming around, it talks. You could change its attitude and stuff. Like,
I mean, it's serious. I mean, of all the characters of Star Wars, he's my favorite still. And he's been in all of them, and they couldn't do it without him. Like, it's funny how important the droids are in all the Star Wars stories.
He may be the best character of the entire series.
He's the only pure-hearted one.
Like, that's all he's doing. Like, that's really all he's doing. Is just.
I always found it fascinating that every person in the galaxy, though, can understand this robot. Like, everyone speaks every language in Star Wars. Like, the schooling system in the future for foreign languages is stellar. They're taking Rosetta Stone for like 50,000 languages. Like, everyone is like Chewie just like, how did you know how that dude what he said?
You already know this. The professor is. They get C3PO going, and he's got 6 million languages, I think it is, that he can translate.
Something like that. Ask Nick Paulus about that one.
I think he got it wrong, and
he had actually got the question right, and Aaron Goldhammer actually had the wrong answer.
Oh, okay, yeah,
as the rules of the Riz quiz goes,
I think it was 6 million, but I'll have to double check on that. But got way off
course.
Way off course.
No way,
as we usually do. But Guardians, because we want to make sure we do talk baseball. There is something to be said about going to the West Coast, but you got to get the job done. One bad inning by Tristan McKenzie, it's 3-1, and that's how the game ends. And that was the first inning. 8 innings of scoreless baseball pitched by both teams. Great pitching staffs. The Mariners are trying to make the playoffs for the first time in 20 seasons. They have the active streak leader of seasons not making the playoffs. I saw it last night on FS1 early in the game. They put it up there. I think it was Mariners with 20, and then the next highest is the Phillies with 10. Both those teams are Mariners probably a little bit more so than the Phillies, but both teams are looking to make the playoffs. Take those two off the board. Mariners are playing well, and there's a reason why the Mariners are probably talked about more than the Guardians. Just like Julio Rodriguez is talked about more for Rookie of the Year than Stephen Kwan. It's one thing, and it's one thing only: the home run ball. That's why. They mentioned it last night. I've seen on the. It's been fun that we've actually been able to watch games and not have it just on Bally Sports. I
I know your tweet saved my day. I was sitting there looking for something to watch TV, and you're like, it's on YouTube TV. I'm like, sweet.
I love everybody that works at Bally. This is nothing against anybody that works at Bally Sports across the nation, but especially here. We have a lot of great people that are working over there. It's the company that has decided to set their things up the way they have and have cut off half of fan bases from being able to watch things. And when you try to go to a crack stream, an illegal stream, whatever it may be, they work half the time. They don't work half the time because Bally is able to control that. Once they get their app, now you got to pay $20 a month, $10 for the Guardians, basically $10 for the Cavs. Once it's nationwide, I think they have the test going on right now, but it's not in this market, and it's so tough. So it's been nice, but it's also kind of considered national television. A lot of those announcers have talked about how, there's a difference between the Mariners and the Guardians. The Mariners hit the home run ball, but if you're going to live and die by the home run ball, you're going to have less success than probably what the Guardians are doing. There's a reason why there's a lot of people don't like what the Guardians are doing, and they won't talk about the Guardians because they're playing small ball. They're playing old school baseball. We mentioned it last week with Cleveland Kate, but you didn't see any of that, and it seemed like a lot of disinterested guys today. Ahmed Rosario, 4 strikeouts. That's the golden sombrero, I believe, if I'm wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 4 strikeouts swinging today. That's not what you expect out of that guy. Stephen Kwan striking out a couple times.
But I mean, in a long season, and as good as they've been playing since the All-Star break, like, you're just not going to win every series. It's unrealistic to expect that from anybody, even the Dodgers, the Yankees, these teams that have multi-million dollar payrolls higher than ours. Like, no one's going to win all their series. You're on the West Coast. You're playing an up-and-coming, great, scrappy team.
Yeah.
We're either 1 or they're 2, and we're 2 and they're 1 bullpens. Like, their bullpen is amazing. If they're just like us, if they have a lead in the 7th inning, you're pretty much done for.
I mean, what we had in 2016 is
like
kind of
not to mention they literally they won off a Class A. Like, that's how often is that going to happen?
Not many times. Honestly, that's not going to happen too often. And he's been pitching even better than he did in the first half.
Yeah.
After he went to the All-Star game, we mentioned it with Jimenez too. He went 2 for 14, 2 for 15 in this series. Guardians only scored 7 runs. They gave up 13, but they could only score 7.
Jose is hitting a little better right now, but they're all gonna. It goes up and down. It's ebb and flows about baseball. It's very fluid, and everyone's gonna come up or they're gonna go down.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's what I wanted to touch on. There's a lot of people that are kind of on edge when the Guardians lose. But like, everybody starts talking about them when they're winning. Then as like the masses, the general fans, the average fans fall off, it seems like the deep-rooted, diehard baseball fans, Guardians fans, Cleveland baseball fans are even more on edge when they're losing. Like, you can't lose this. Like, we want to get this. It's almost like we want to get this attention, but also we need something good, because what's playing down by the lakefront, like, all of that has been awful this whole offseason. We need something positive.
But that's the thing. This whole season, that to those people, this season has been so positive. Like, remember, like me, I was so wrong, and I'm so glad I was. Beginning of the season, I destroyed this team. I was like, they only got Jose Ramirez. They're going to lose a million games. They're going to be in last place. Completely proved me wrong. Thank God. Dude, they're fun. You're in a pennant race. Like, you got a 2-game league. Like, every game matters, but enjoy that. Yeah. That's what makes this season. It's made it so magical. We're not 10 games up on someone and just kind of cruising and just waiting for the playoffs. No, we're fighting to get in the playoffs. And I understand you're upset when they lose, but you just, all right, they lost, on to the next one. You got to be just like the team is. All right, we lost, guys. Learn from mistakes, on to the next one.
You just don't want something like this weekend to be an extended period of time.
And I don't think it will be, because of Tito.
And we've seen that all season. Like, there has been periods where it's been rough for baseball, but we're in August. I will remind people, what was it, 2017, when they won 22 straight? That was in August. And then kind of, it seemed like they were crawling, scratching, clawing to the finish line of the season, and then had an early exit out of the playoffs that year. Yes, they're playing good baseball, but you don't want that to be their best yet. There's a lot of young guys that you're relying on that are still learning what kind of approach they need to bring to the ballpark every day when you are in a pennant race. That's what makes this fun. the young guys are getting this experience and they're impacting that type of team right now. You get a day off to travel back, then you take on the Orioles, and I think Seattle comes in here. You don't like the taste in your mouth from what happened in Seattle, take it out on Baltimore, come back against Seattle. They did what they were supposed to do at home. You do what you're supposed to do at home. That's the type of mentality. That's the type of approach they need to figure out how to do.
What impressed me,
we're learning along with them. We're going on their learning journey in a pennant race. That's fun. That is fun. Stay on the train, people.
exactly. And what has impressed me the most is that, especially since the second half, like in the very beginning of the season, it was very up, down, very quick ups, quick downs, not a lot of stability. Right now, we're going up. We're kind of staying up for a good while now. And then when we come down, we only come down for a little bit, and then we go right back up, and then we stay right where we're supposed to be. And we're leveling out, and we're getting more and more consistent. And these young guys are learning. The biggest difference between the last two seasons is Tito. Like, he wasn't there last. And I forget who pointed it out, but someone pointed out that, like, Tito wasn't there those last two seasons, and we were very down. And I just saw an article since Tito has been our coach in Cleveland, we have the second highest win percentage, only outside of the Yankees and their massive payroll.
And that's what you have to do. You have to have a manager like that. You have to have young guys that are going to buy in and just truly, literally go out there and play as if they're playing a child's game for money every day. And that's the approach that they have. Now they need to add a little bit more sense of not necessarily urgency, but importance to what they're doing out there on the diamond every single day. And if something doesn't go right one day, Tito says it all the time, win the day. Win the day. Your job today is to go win. Okay, you didn't accomplish your goal. You didn't accomplish your task today. You go do that tomorrow. You get another chance. You get 162 of them. And if you can accomplish your task more often than you don't, you put yourself in the position, especially at the end of the season, to go into the playoffs. And once you get there, anything goes. Anything is possible. But it's still August. We're at the end of August. We're about to turn the page to September. You don't want this lull to happen too long. Now, as you get into divisional play, beat the teams you're supposed to. Let's finish the job. We got about a month left of baseball, a month plus of baseball. Finish the job by doing it one game, one day at a time. We have one more segment of the day to go right here on the Voice of the Land. A little fantasy football talk. And as fantasy football drafts come up for all of you, this time of year, what is that one biggest pet peeve you have as your draft gets set up, or something that happens in drafts that might be a little earlier than others? We'll talk about that next on the other side of our final break. Kevin Arnold, always Positive J Audio. We'll be right back here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout Northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
Welcome back one final time to the Voice of the Land here on the Big Play Network. As I said, Kevin Arnold, always Positive J on the other side, as you can see him on your screen, or just hear our voices on the audio, Google, Spotify, and Apple. But you always only hear the voice of audio, or Peter Tellup, our producer extraordinaire. We got about 5 minutes left, guys, and we've kind of been all over the map tonight because
That's what we do.
We're still 2 weeks away from NFL football. Yes, college football kind of started this weekend.
What do they call it? Week 0.
Week 0. Week 1 is actually next week. So there's going to be, the conversations are going to ramp up. We've talked a lot of baseball on this show, probably more than
we're not going to stop.
And we're not going to stop. Baseball is still going to be in Browns post-game shows because it matters and the Guardians matter. We just talked about them. We'll post some clips this week or just go back on the replay on social media or on the audio to listen to that. But this time of year, fantasy football drafts are starting to happen. We're now through the preseason. Sometimes you got those ones that are last minute. Sometimes you got them that are too early, and sometimes right in the middle. We've all kind of experienced some pet peeves, especially recently with fantasy football drafts. We'll give advice throughout the year, but right now, Jay, what is your one biggest pet peeve with fantasy football at this time of the year?
My biggest pet peeve is the same one I also committed. Having your fantasy league draft like week 1 or week 2 of preseason, like it drives me nuts. Like even though I had our underground RBS draft last week, we don't have money, so I purposely do it early so that people, when they have their money leagues, their credit leagues, they have time, and I don't want to interfere with those or more important drafts.
I got
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have it early. But when there's credits involved, please have it after the third game, whenever all the starters are done, because I'm so sick of drafting players that get in trouble. Like what I drafted Adrian Peterson when he got in trouble for hitting the kid with the switch, the stick or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't see that coming. It was a terrible act. But it sucks. And now he's suspended for 6 game or 8 game. And I'm like, oh, great. And it was because I drafted him early. Or you get people that get hurt in that third preseason game. Like, it just drives me nuts when people have their drafts way too early.
Audio, have you ever experienced any pet peeves?
Well, like I mentioned before the show, we used to do a league, and a lot of the people are on the West Coast, so it would be really late. And the good thing is we would do it later, so we would do it pretty much like Labor Day weekend, like that Sunday night. So at least you didn't have to get up and go to work the next day. But one of the things that would drive me nuts about it was when people don't show up for the draft, and then it does the auto draft. So it every time they're up, and if it's more than one person, it just really drags out
because it goes
goes
auto drafts like the whole time.
Take the whole time.
Oh, see, on the ESPN fantasy app, it doesn't do that. If you're on auto draft, as soon as your pick comes up, it's boom, it picks that.
No, see, I think because we use like the Yahoo one, and I think the Yahoo one is you could set it to auto draft, and it would do that like immediately. Mm-hmm. But if you just didn't show up,
you gotta wait.
Your time would expire, and then it would auto pick for you.
Oh, that's
so it was just like, so you'd be like, this person's not online, are they? Because every single pick was going the whole like 2 minutes or whatever. It's just like, come on, man.
That's like the guy it's round 14, and they're taking all the time to make a pick. I'm like, dude, you know who you really want? It's a bunch of like no-name jag guys out there, just a guy
just taking the best available.
And it's like 3 seconds of them, they make a pick. I'm like, dude, it took you that long to take a kicker? Like, come on, dude, it's a kicker.
Yeah, get those out of the way. Like especially when you get those last rounds, like
which I got Cade York on my team.
There you go. Way to represent.
Not in the RBS league. Cleveland Kate stole him, as we talked about. But in my money league, I got him, and I saw him kicking that 7-yarder in practice. Like, that's my guy.
Yeah. Shout out to Cleveland Kate. She's my pick in that league just because of that still. So
yeah,
you're my pick in the other league you got him in.
See.
So
well, what's your pet peeve, Kevin? Because you didn't tell us yet.
Lack of communication.
No way.
Lack of communication on what is actually
I'm literally
happening.
going through that right now.
I don't know, set up some sort of, and not even through some sort of social media messenger thing, get everybody's numbers. If that's the only way you can connect with people, ask for everybody's numbers, get a group chat going, or if you have to reach out to people individually, do that. Let people know what's actually going on so that whatever's going on that they have in their lives as well, they know, and then they can try to set up some sort of backup plan so that you're not that person that everybody's got to help auto draft for. If a draft might be in person instead of through one of these systems, and the commissioners got to go back through and put the picks in. We had that happen. We love the people that are in it. Trust me. This is not, it sounds like a shot. It's not.
Shot or not.
It kind of is, but
it's totally a shot. Kevin, you're just being nice about it.
It's just like the communication needs to be.
Yeah.
Like communication needs to be better.
You could say that about almost everything, though.
we got, people got family stuff that's going on,
Mhm.
and like we can't.
No.
If you're gonna have an in-person draft, here's another one for me. Have the please do it through an app because of an option of if people can still do the draft, but do it through their phones and they get the notification they're up and they can go pick. That way you're not forcing 10 other people to pick for you. Have that option. I love putting them up on the board, but we're kind of past that point.
So, yeah, I was just talking with someone and we were like, do you like the in-person drafts? I'm like, I haven't done one in so long that I think I would want to do one again, but because it's been so long.
I love being.
But the problem is, there's always the guy. It's like the 7th round, and they're like, "Is Christian McCaffrey still available?" Like, of course, Christian McCaffrey's not available. Why would you even think that? Oh my god! So there's the fun party of it, aspect, and it's kind of cool to do the board. But yeah, there's 1,000,007 things that get messed up from them.
Yeah, and I've done one of those in-person drafts before. Like where you put the sticker on the board. You get the draft kit and you put the stickers on the board. It was kind of cool to have that experience, but it was like a one-time experience. I at this point, everything is so digital.
Yes,
keep it on the app. And
well, the problem is if you do it on the app and you do want to have like an in-person party, you're not going to get many people to show up. I'll tell you right now. Trust me, I've set up a lot of these. And once you start doing that, because everyone wants to just stay home and it makes everything so convenient for them.
And nowadays, like that's kind of
it's me personally, normal. I'm trying to like buck this trend that everyone wants about convenience and staying home. And I'm like, something's changed with me because of recent problem with a friend passing is I want to be more outgoing again. I want to go to these in-person things and meet more people and stuff.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
And I guess I've always had good groups of people where we get together and we have our computers and we're still doing it through the app and we're just having a good time together. And it's a league that you're in year after year after year. You really get to know these people and it's like, hey, we did it last year. Like, hey, get together at this house or get together at that house. I got
I've had those kind of parties too.
Yeah.
But I've also had it where it's you set up a thing for like 12 people to show up and 3 people end up coming and here you go. Well, that sucks.
Trust me, this particular instance, when people find out if it comes to that, when they find out what we were taking care of this weekend with family, I think it'll be more understandable of why we had to be completely an auto draft because we couldn't be there to put stickers up on a board. And again,
no, I get it. I see what you're saying.
Would I go back to that maybe one time? Sure, absolutely. Like again, it was fun because you feel like you're in the draft room of the in the NFL, and you feel like it's almost like draft day, like where there's all these things being written up on the board, they're on the computers, they're going through all this information. Like you feel that kind of essence, and that's what fantasy football does. Like you get to be the GM, you get a pick of all the talent that's there in the NFL. You don't have to try to figure out who's going to be good from college to the NFL. Luckily, they've already kind of shown you that. Only when you draft rookies do you have to figure that out. And like you, I kind of stay away from rookies.
This year, one of my leagues, I drafted I think 3 of the 4 rookie receivers in the first round. I have Olave, London, and Burks, and I tried to get Wilson in New York. I was like, oh man, because I think it would have been like 4 former Buckeyes on my team with Michael Thomas and someone else.
And when there's that position that's kind of deep in in an NFL draft, I usually have the ability to kind of keep track in the preseason, like how they're doing in actual game action. Like you see the workouts and rookie camp and training camp, things like that. But preseason games this year, there's just so much going on that I haven't been able to, especially with high school football, doing different elements of that. CBC TV, ESPN Cleveland, like it's so hard to keep track of everything. I'll tell you what though, I know that they had a really good high school game at CBC with audio, who stepped away. That's why we're still
we're still just going and trying to talk.
But they actually had a pretty good game. It was like 20-13, so defensive battle. But I think Edgewood was up 20-6, and then I know that
I've seen your cameraman skills on the ESPN Twitter handle for a touchdown grab. That was pretty good. That was a hell of a shot there.
Well, that's a shout out to the late great Matt Lodi, who had me writing articles in 2019 for neosportsinsiders.com. Like I would get videos and pictures, and like he kind of like told me like what to look for, how to get them, and things like that. And I figured that would kind of help us get, kind of show what was going on. And
yeah, it was a great.
Twinsburg versus
video.
Willoughby South, Division II, Region 5. Man, I had goosebumps. They were going back and forth. 41 points scored in the second half between both teams.
Nice.
Willoughby South, it was a tale of 2-point conversions. Willoughby South took the lead. It was 33 to 28, and because they were down, I think 28-27. So it was 33 to 28, and they decided to go for 2 to make it a full touchdown lead. They get theirs. You turn around. Twinsburg was kind of trying to come back. They get a long 60-yard touchdown pass. Dude, wide open, beautiful ball up over his shoulder. Like, I mean, and it's like coming like right at me. And I just watched this guy just it was like that simple, easy, just swoop the ball in and just kept on running right in stride. Like, crowd went nuts. I got goosebumps. It's 35-34. They take a timeout. They take their final timeout. They decide to go for 2 because they're trying to change the culture over there in Twinsburg. They lost 39-0 in Willoughby South last year. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm all for it. I'm like, let's go. Let's see this happen. It looked like the guy caught it. I was so focused on the catch. I didn't look at his feet. I don't know if they call him out of bounds or he wasn't across the plane because his back was to the goal line. So I think the ball was still in front of it, even if he was in bounds. 35-34. Like, one team gets it, one team doesn't. The little thing.
Game of inches, man. A
goes back to little things. Those 1 or 2 plays, those little, things that if you change one thing, a whole different result, a whole different conversation is had. That's the craziest part. But, we'll get into more high school football as it goes too, because we want to make sure we spotlight the student athletes. We're connected with Chagrin Valley Conference. We want to highlight those kids. Peter gets to go to my alma mater next week and gets to cover. I'm kind of welling up a little bit. One of my former players in youth soccer, she's a junior now for the girls soccer team. She was just named for this week, or like this week she was named as the kicker for the team. So like going into next week, if I wasn't doing this new role, I would be out at Wycliffe calling the game. Like, and a kid I coached, and I know the family were big friends now, and feel like family to each other and stuff. Like that would be a special moment. If you're taking your own road and you got things you're passionate about, sometimes sacrifices got to be made. But Wycliffe 1-1 going up against Harvey. I don't know what has happened to them, but it'll be a big game for CVC TV. I'll be down in Alliance, Ohio at Mount Union for
Alliance.
Yeah, well, they're taking on Bedford. So,
dude, I found out how far that is one day. I was like,
that's a story for
oh
off air. So, but we'll talk more about that. Ohio State plays their first game on Saturday. Big game against Notre Dame at 7:30. So we'll have a lot to talk about there. And, it's Labor Day weekend. Fun things are doing. Air show in town. We'll focus on those fun summer activities. That about wraps it up, though, for this edition of The Voice of Land. For Always Positive Jay, audio, our producer, I'm Kevin Arnold, reminding all of you sports fans out there, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We love you all 3,000. We are huge Marvel fans, but in reality, we love you all 3,000. And all gas, no brakes. Live your life, all gas, no brakes, just like Mike Allen always used to do. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week right here on The Voice of the Land.